It was only a sip.
Half the glass.
Lies.
Glass
That
was
just
gone.
turned this place into a house of lies. Damnable lies.
You know it. And you know that I know it. And I know that you know that I know it.
But I don't know that you know that I don't know that you know that I don't know it.
Whatever. Yes, you do.
If I represent, yo.
I was gonna write you an email, but I'm a little drunk and spelling is a sober person's game. So I feel I owe you explanation. I'm sorry. Explanation.
There's no sex in it. It's implied, and Martian women laid eggs. That's how the babies are born.
Nice.
It didn't matter. Once again, I should have said, is this an explanation you want to hear, or just one you just want to, make fun of?
Right.
The wisdom thing. Well, when you're 16 and 17, you're just hormonally charged, of course.
Yes.
I understand that wears off eventually. I also understand that love of dinosaurs wears off eventually for some people, but
that is supposed to, but that didn't happen with you.
Says the woman that just had to remove 14 Pachycephalosaurus figures.
There was 2 other kind of dinosaurs.
You didn't even know the other one was a Dilophosaurus.
I couldn't remember the name. So that should tell you that I grew out of it.
Yeah. Whose idea was it to go to Vernal?
But it was for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Whose idea was it to go to the Jurassic Experience?
But again, I did that for you. I looked her in the eye, Ray.
Should go right there. We are, my sister's going to be here on Tuesday, and we are going to Dinosaur Ridge and the Morrison Museum, which I did just find out about, so.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's something I was hiding. Now, the Denver Museum of Science and Nature, I apologize for that, because.
That's fine.
They've even got a prehistoric sea feature there right now, as well as the Teen Rex and Kathmandu or something, which would appeal to the archaeologist in one Dr. Lilith Draco.
Yes, it's fine. I'll be there again. We don't need to do everything in one visit.
I don't think we should go through the museum. Awesome. Well, for that reason, that you don't see why we shouldn't.
It'll be fun.
Okay, well, we've got a lot of ground to cover here now.
Oh, no.
A multitude of ground, if you will.
I did it to myself.
You, okay. Heard and witnessed.
Winners are out.
There's not even any whiskey. That's why the fucks aren't out.
I don't think I've said fuck yet until just now.
Only she meant fudge.
Oh, fudge.
Now, I had heard that word come out of my father's mouth. Oh, man, that's a great movie, too.
I never got my mouth washed out with soap growing up, but my brother did.
And my brother did, because he called me a fucker in the tub once. And it took Mom so much energy to get that soap in his mouth, she probably said never again.
And she was probably holding back laughter.
I don't know if she was. I know that the second time I heard him say it and thought he was in trouble, and she couldn't. Yeah, he had come home from first grade and was telling Mom that Oh yeah, this other kid named Eric, he runs around saying, "Oh fuck, shit, damn," all the time. And I don't think my sainted mother was prepared for that, because I'm like, "Oh, he's getting it now," and she couldn't move because it was like, I'm gonna die, because if I don't laugh, if I laugh, they're gonna think it's that I'm laughing because it's funny, which I'm sure it was hilarious. Because he just said it so nonchalant. He wasn't swearing; he was just repeating it. So,
Right.
really that, okay, you kind of shouldn't. And he probably tried to say, we don't. Mom probably tried to get out the words. We don't use shouldn't use those words. But I don't
Right.
think. I think that she was having a very difficult internal struggle at the time to hold it in. And
Yes.
unfortunately, I doubt she'd had a gin and tonic, or that would have been it for her. So, if you
So
time
I
a good
was,
swear word, it's you just can't not laugh.
and sometimes you say one when you really shouldn't. So as we know, I grew up Mormon. My wonderful parents are still both very active, and you do not swear as a Mormon. It is second to murder, like
Oh,
drinking coffee, right?
fiddlesticks.
And so I was on the phone with my mother, and this was maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks.
Just
I
recently.
was recently, yes. I was in my car driving home from work, and I was getting on the freeway, and somebody almost came over and hit
Killed
me
you.
while my mother was talking. Yes. And I looked over and I said, "Fucker." And then I realized I was on the phone with my mom. And she's like, "What was that?"
Baking
I'm
powder?
like, "Oh, sorry. Somebody almost hit me." And then she just went about what she was saying. And I thought, did she hear what I said? Or was she just focused on what she was saying and didn't realize? Was it muffled enough? Anyway, and I worried about that and worried about that because, sometimes that's what we do is replay it over and over. If she
Right.
asked me, is there a word that's close that I could say, "Oh no, I said this."
I said
She
fudge.
never asked me about it. But yeah, it was one of those moments that was not pleasant.
Well, once back in my days in San Diego, when I was stationed on assignment and going to a Methodist church, the pastor had shut his hand in the car door and had to give a sermon about times when language was allowed, because the biddies had heard him say something. And I'm like, why is he going on about this? Because, pastors aren't supposed to be human. I mean,
Right.
he did have 3 wives in a row, not all at once.
Okay. Not like the Mormons where they have them all at the same time.
But yes, it does happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of M's, Mormons, Methodists, why don't we talk about the multiverse?
Well, before we get into the multiverse, what are you drinking?
We haven't done an introduction yet.
We haven't done that either. You're just so ready and itching and excited to talk about the multiverse topic.
Really. I was
You're just ready to jump right in.
Introduction to it. This doesn't count as pointers.
We need the clapboard.
I didn't hear it. Did you hit your finger?
No.
Oh, I can't hear it. I can just see it. You'll have to add that in post. It's quiet on this end.
Son of a bitch.
So, welcome back, my fellow agents. Lilith, wonderful hellions. It is I, X7, who's imbibed and louder than he should be. I am the master of multiverse knowledge, arcane and useless as it is. With me, as always, is the Catwoman to my Tiger Man, the Gambit to my any other much cooler hero, Lilith Draco.
Welcome back.
And Artemis is the redhead who took over for Diana for a while. Wonder why she was called Artemis. Don't wonder at all. I did not read those books. That was when Diana was wearing her leather jacket, and it was half. The 90s were horrible.
The 90s are good for superheroes.
In some ways, but a lot of ways not. The costumes were not good. I mean, I believe I see the bottom half of Remy LeBeau.
He's right there.
And he's wearing a jacket. Superheroes don't need to wear trench coats. Damn Matrix. Hate that.
That's part of his costume. He always wears it.
Yeah, because of the Matrix.
No.
Ruined lots of things.
This guy's before the Matrix. This is an old
and
awesome action figure, not dollar toy.
And someone in this conversation is a far bigger fan, and has more knowledge of Remy LeBeau than your humble agent.
Who would that be?
You, the redheaded Wonder Woman. In what universe is Wonder Woman a redhead? Are we supposed to be talking about? Or are we doing something else?
No, what we were getting in, but what beers we were.
Oh, okay. Eventually, that became English. Am I going first this time?
Sure. What are you drinking, X7? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a local. It's from Oscar Blues. Have we been to their eatery?
No, the only brewery we've been in.
Brewery.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Was Avery. I don't think we've been to any of the other ones.
We've been to Long's Peak, which is Mountain Sun. We've been there.
Oh, and then we went to the one in Colorado Springs that had that Cerberus 100 or whatever that glorious beer was that was still new.
Yeah, they have some up at Wyatt's, but they don't have that. And I've been to Fossil Craft Brewing in Colorado Springs, the home of Bellend.
Yeah.
But we have been to Mountain Sun.
Okay.
But this is Oscar Blues, and it's 1050, literally.
Nice.
Have you got 1050?
It is 1050.
And it's
I think we get some of those here sometimes.
It's so good. It's an imperial. Yes, it's an imperial stout, and it's 10.5%. So hence 1050. Have you got 1050? It's a goddamn Loch Ness monster. She's a goddamn succubus. So
succubus.
It's this is a seasonal one, so I don't know how long it'll be around, but I got it. It's 1050, so it's not, well, it's pretty potent.
Yeah.
It'd be really, really good with a shot of Jameson. But probably put your humble agent into winning mode. And he's.
Oh, you win a lot. I win a lot though, so it really just depends.
What are you drinking there, Lil? Wonder Lil?
I'm drinking.
Lil Wonder. That's what you are right now.
I'm what?
Lil Wonder. Like Little Wonder. Lil Wonder.
Thanks. Yeah, I know.
Because you're fun-sized.
I am fun-sized. Fine, whatever. It's okay. The world is better down here than it has to be up there.
I'm going to win a little bit.
So I'm drinking. Hold on.
She's not drinking enough, as my sainted mother would say.
So I'm drinking, it's called Ocularity 2X IPA.
Oh,
It's from Bottle Logic Brewery.
Oh, I like the name. Both names.
Not sure where that's located. They should have looked it up, but
reading is hard right now.
Quite different can.
Yeah, I like the can. I like the name of the beer and
Popularity.
The beer and the brewery.
Right. It's an 8.5, 100
shit.
IBUs.
It better be bitter. It better be bitter enough.
It says pour in a glass, keep cold, drink fresh. Please recycle. Pairs well with tikka masala. Unfortunately, I'm not having that for dinner tonight, but
What is tikka
anyway,
masala?
chicken tikka masala. It's an Indian dish.
I would eat that. I would try that.
It's really good.
I like the Indian food. The time Brick 2 took me. I had the
It's
naan
really
and
good.
spinach stuff.
I eat it.
It was the green stuff.
Right. No,
I like.
it's a red sauce. Anyway, you have rice and then you have your naan bread, and I always put chicken in it. But I eat it maybe once a month. It's pretty good.
We have an Indian restaurant down on Main Street, and I have not been. I mean, I've had sushi once in 12 years now since I left San Diego. Boy, was that good.
Yeah.
I would not take you there. I know that. I only did that once, and that was. Then we took.
Not your fault.
Well, you were there. I didn't realize it. I mean, I did, but I didn't. It was Brick's. We'll blame Brick.
And they put the octopus like down right in front of me with the little tentacles and the suction cups.
I won't eat octopus. I love them too much as creatures because they're super smart.
And then we went next door so I could eat something.
Yeah.
And that's when Brick ate half my sandwich.
He ate a bunch of sushi too. Made Augie
Which
pay
is why
for
I
it.
thought it was odd that he ate half my sandwich.
Good thing nobody else drank your beers or anything.
I think you did taste my beer that night.
It was a blue moon. Who cares?
At this point, yes, but back then, different story.
It was only a sip.
Half the glass.
Lies.
Glass
Why
was
does you turn
gone.
this place into a house of lies. Damnable lies.
You know it. And you know that I know it. And I know that you know that I know it.
But I don't know that you know that I don't know that you know that I don't know it.
Whatever. Yes, you do.
Couldn't if I tried.
So I was watching Deadpool. It was a few weeks ago. I don't watch it all that, it's not like I watch it every day or every week or whatever.
Right.
And I noticed that at the very beginning, spoiler alerts, he goes into, I don't remember the character's name, Pete from Friends, goes into his office because he's in charge of the Avengers because Deadpool wants to be an Avenger. Okay. And so he walks into the office applying to become an Avenger.
Scott Lang, Ant-Man.
Huh?
Scott Lang is his name, Ant-Man. Paul Rudd is
the guy who plays Pete, not Mike, not Phoebe's husband. Pete, the UFC guy, the millionaire that Rachel or Monica.
Jon Favreau.
Yes.
Pete. You mean he plays Happy? What? That's his name They've still failed.
Okay. Anyway, that's not the point. So when it pans into him sitting in the office doing his interview before you hear them talking or whatever, it says Earth 616. Okay. So that got me thinking in that moment. I'm like, well, if I think back to all the times I've watched all of the Avengers, Marvel Universe movies, I always figured it was this universe just with superheroes, not that this universe has superheroes, but that's just where my mind just kind of placed it, right? Never really thought about it. And so when I noticed that, I thought, oh, so are we Earth 616? And so that's what this podcast episode is going to be about. Are we Earth 616? If not, where are we in the multiverse? And was all of it then part of that universe with Earth 616?
Okay, you asked.
Strap in. Strap in. We're going to go for a ride.
So, the multiverse. To answer your question, oh, man. I have too much information trying to come out of my mouth. All of us. I'll take
Start
another.
at the beginning.
I'll take another sip of liquid courage.
So good.
So the concept of parallel Earth is not new. It's been around. I did a little, according to Wikipedia. Ooh, I rapped. It's very much a plot device to get a character into a different situation, either one that's really similar to his own, but it's slightly veered off. And the further as you saw in the ancient one, when she was talking to Bruce after she told him, "You do not want to do this."
Yes.
And he did not listen to her, even though he was supposed to be Smart Hulk. How they splinter off. Now, as someone who does, the multiverse is a scientific thing. Your humble agent believes in it. There are, but I don't think that we could go into a universe that is separated by milliseconds. It's just like you would have to go into one that's so much further different, like say dinosaurs evolved into not just birds but actual hominid sort of things. But be that as it may, one of the first science fiction examples was Murray Leinster's short story Sidewise in Time, published in 1934. I've not read this. I'd really like to. It's not the first example of parallel universes, but it is credited with popularizing the concept. Now, we'll circle back to comic books here. As you can see, this is the Flash of Two Worlds. This is Jay Garrick of Earth 2. This is Barry Allen of Earth 1. Why Barry Allen, who was the newer superhero from 1956-ish, whereas Jay Garrick, the original the Flash, is from 1940, let's say 1940. I think he predated the war. Justice Society, Justice League. Why he's Earth 1 and he's Earth 2? That's the vagaries of comic book logic.
Okay.
So, Gardner Fox, who wrote some of the original Justice Society stories, created a lot of the original 40s heroes, then recreated because in 1949 the Justice Society stopped publishing many superheroes because the war was over. They didn't have a hard enemy to fight, the Nazis. Fucking Illinois Nazis. Hate all Nazis, as every normal person should.
Yes.
The superheroes fell out of fashion. Westerns, horror comics, crime stories, comedies. Archie took over a lot of, comedies.
Yes.
So, but the big three, and only the big three, well, actually the big five survived. The big three, the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, blessed be thy name, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, were published they survived cancellation. The other two DC heroes were Green Arrow and the much maligned Aquaman. All survived straight through. But all the other superheroes kind of dwindled. Marvel, which was timely at the time, then they were Atlas, and then they were finally Marvel. They went to monster comic books, horror. Then Frederick Wertham published his idiotic book about the seduction of the innocent and ruined comic books for 2 decades at least. But in the mid-50s, Gardner and Julius Schwartz, the editor at DC Comics now, said, let's try some new concepts here. They brought back Barry Allen. They invented Barry Allen, brought back the Flash, but in a new one. He had scientific, a slightly different. He had same powers, except that he was even faster because eventually he vibrated onto Earth. He could move his molecule so fast he accidentally broke the planet interdimensional barrier and went to Earth 2, and he didn't notice it at first. But then he was following the Shade or somebody. I don't remember what villain it was. Breathe. Just breathe. Only you will get that. Except that it is coming up.
Zoltan Day.
Barry had read it on Earth 1. They had published the comic book exploits of the original Earth 2 heroes, the Justice Society, Flash, the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, Wonder Woman. Well, maybe not Wonder Woman because that's tricky, but the Atom, all of them. So he'd read them, so he was subconsciously influenced by the vibrational. I don't even know, but so he figured out, he remembered that Jay Garrick was a Flash and went and met him and his wife. They'd been retired because the government retconned later into the Red Scare, forcing them out because they wanted to know their secret identities. And the Justice Society said, "Up yours, fascist."
Yeah.
And but so Jay came out of retirement and was happy to run around and be the Flash again, which eventually led the Justice Society to come out of retirement, which eventually led the Justice League and the Justice Society to meet together, Earth 1 and Earth 2. And that was so popular, they did it a couple of years, and then they went to Earth 3. Every year they would have a team up where they would go to Earth 3, there was an Earth A at one point. I can't even tell you how that was caused. I mean, I can, but I'm not gonna. Thank you, Johnny Thunder. But they went to Earth S, where Shazam, the original Captain Marvel, and his cronies. They went to Earth X, where the Nazis had won, but the Uncle Sam, the Black Condor, the Ray had formed the Freedom Fighters to battle them, and the Justice League and the Justice Society teamed up to do that. And they went to the future to visit the Legion of Superheroes. So every year they did this team up, and it got, how many characters can we cram into one book? Your Humble Agent has several of these volumes.
Of course.
Because that was how I met them, was with the first ever Justice League Justice Society crossover in Earth 20, in Justice League 21 and 22. I liberated that comic book from my grandmother's house. I mean, who else deserved it? Not my grubby cousins who would put their greasy hands on it.
No.
Did a whole episode on Xenorama, the podcast of Heroes and Monsters, about that particular issue.
Go watch it, like, share, subscribe.
So close, but thank you. So I got the multiverse at age like 6 and 7.
Okay.
I knew I could differentiate between Barry and Jay, between Hal and Alan, between Al Pratt and Ray Palmer, the Atoms. Now, the 2 Batman, the 2 Superman, the 2 Wonder Woman, that was tricky. Green Arrow was never a member of the Justice Society, but he was a member of the Justice League, so that was not a big deal. There were 2 Hawkmen. I got it. My cousins, they're not dumb, but I'm trying to explain why there's 2 of them, and they're not getting it. I mean, I was 7, so maybe
right.
I was inelegant with that. So to answer your question, Marvel didn't do the alternate universe until the later 60s. This was in the 50s where this happened.
Okay.
So DC was the pioneer. It's pretty much all their fault. Marvel did it in the Avengers, where they kind of had this crossover with the Squadron Supreme, which was a stand-in for the Justice League, because you couldn't do the Avengers meet the Justice League. Although they did, when they did, it was amazing. I love that story.
Do we need to talk about that?
No, not right now.
Okay.
You do not want that story to go out, at least at this point in time. Knowing when to stop.
We'll dedicate a whole episode to that.
We could, but yeah, I don't know if I can subject you to that. I'm not that mean. But quiet you. So Marvel did do it a couple of times, but they didn't really go into it until now both of them do it constantly. It's like they have because they just want variants of what sells. I think it's a crutch anymore, because DC did the Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they tried to combine all of them into one. So they'd have the Charlton heroes like Blue Beetle, Captain Atom, the Fawcett heroes like Captain Marvel, although now they call him Shazam, but they call his sister Mary Marvel. Breathe. And the Earth 2 original heroes, because they were in the 40s, and Superman didn't get a stat. And then the longer it stretches out now, I mean, Superman it will be 90 years old in 1938, in 2038. So 13 years from now, 13 years from now will be 100. He'll be 90 years old in 3 years, and Batman in a year after that. But they won't have them be legacy heroes where they, like the Phantom, who would assume his father's mantle. There was always a Phantom, but it wasn't the same man.
Right.
They don't do that with a lot of them because the money's in Bruce Wayne always being Batman, Clark Kent always being Superman, Diana, who's immortal, so that doesn't count. Thor's immortal, doesn't count. But Captain America, Sam the Falcon turning into Captain America instead of, the revived Bucky, the Winter Soldier, is not Captain
Right.
America.
Right.
So, they have to stretch. Marvel used to have this thing called Marvel Time, where, they would have 7 issues tell a story in like a week, but that would only be a week of time. So they would try to elasticize it, which is why you could see President Nixon, President Carter, President Ford, and still President Reagan. Right. They would all be there, but the Fantastic Four would still be the same age, roughly. Even though Peter Parker was 16 when he turned into Spider-Man, graduated, went to college, he's still kind of 24 after 60 years of being Spider-Man.
Right, right.
I get it. I mean, continuity in comic books is the hobgoblin of little minds. They want to tell a story, just let them tell a story. It took me a while to come to grips with that. I was a serious comic book little nerd back in the day.
And you're not now? Come on.
I'm different now. I'm not the same kind of comic book nerd. I've come to grips with some things that you have to, or it'll just, what did Austin Powers say? Make your eyes go sideways. So, Lil, to answer your question about are we on Earth 616, I told you those stories to answer your question.
Right.
Technically, if you go by DC Comics, Earth 616 is something that Alan Moore and the British comic book people who were publishing stories about that were connected with Marvel, but they invented that term. That was not a Marvel thing. Earth 1 and Earth 2, that was a DC thing. And they eventually decided that where the world that superheroes did not exist on, superheroes that could fly, not the ones that do good things, like firefighters and people like that, nurses.
Right.
We'll give my mom the credit. That was Earth Prime. Didn't have a number. It was the Earth. That was our Earth, Earth Prime.
Okay.
So, but that's DC. That's not Marvel. Marvel was 616 because it had something to do with 1961, where the Fantastic Four was first published. First issue of the first family of Marvel Comics, and please, by all the gods, will that movie be good?
No.
It looks good.
No.
It has me intrigued. I like the way it looks. The trailers look better than any other Marvel, DC, any other Fantastic Four superhero movie. Because anyway,
yeah, that's why I say no. I'm
cautiously optimistic. But where was I? So that's Earth 616. It's not official. Marvel, a lot of the Marvel people on our side of the Atlantic don't care for the term. They've tried to change it. It didn't take. It's a fan thing. Okay. There are bunches of others because, like I said, the multiverse is just a crutch to get 18 different Spider-Men, 18 different versions of the Hulk, the Red Hulk, the Blue Hulk, the Green Hulk, the Gray Hulk. There's lots of Hulks. I could deal with 2, him and her, because I love the She-Hulk. Because she's 7 feet tall. That didn't scare Daredevil.
Like your tall women.
It didn't scare Daredevil. Why would it scare me? So Earth, I like to think that, we're on Earth Prime. Now, according to DC, occasionally the Flash has come over. There was actually a Superboy Prime who went mental, and that's an unpleasant story. But overall, our Earth doesn't have people flying around, doesn't have Green Lantern rings.
Brightest day in darkest night, no evil shall escape my sight.
For those who worship evil's might, beware my power. Green Lantern's
Green
light.
Lantern's light.
Yeah, I've not known that for 55 years. We do love the Green Lantern. The Hal Jordan, and I like most of the Green Lanterns except Guy Gardner.
Well, one of us does.
Well, the movie was annoyingly frustrating. It's not 114 minutes of wrong. It's about 70 minutes of wrong. There's some good stuff in there, but I digress. I didn't say the other thing, my catchphrase now, did I?
No, you didn't.
So
then, go ahead.
Oh, you go. No, you go. I've talked a lot.
Yeah, you have.
No.
So then my question is, so we got to this point in Deadpool, that is Earth 616.
Right.
If we then look back to the whole MCU movies that we've watched in progression leading up, was all of that 616? Or what universe was all of that?
I consider
it.
Oh, go ahead.
Or was it different universes and different Earths?
In my view, it was Earth MCU because Marvel, because those are not, they're, for the most part, they're amazing. I mean, they did such great casting. It's just, for all of them, as we talked about earlier in a previous episode about, those two, the couple. But they did such great, but I always consider it that the Earth Marvel Cinematic MCU, because they didn't have quite the same origins. They weren't quite the same people. They were, so close, but not quite. Earth 6, I just consider the main, well, what I read in the, from the 70s to the mid 90s. That was my 616. They've done a lot of stuff recently. Marvel's not a mutant, or Marvel. Wanda's not even a mutant anymore. She was actually something else. Which I was like, vert to Ferk, pardon my Swedish. But so they consider it the Marvel 616 universe, that, but it's not. It can't be. It's not. I mean, It's just MCU. You can call it MCU 616. I don't care. It's not to me. Now, Marvel and Disney might say so. I don't care. That's how I had to actually accept things, because I was a little skeptical at first until I watched that first Iron Man movie, and I was like, all right, okay, it's good. Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it, Captain America's good too. Thor is good, but not great. It got better, and then it got really good.
The third one was the best one.
And then it got not so. It got too long. It just had some issues. But after Endgame, it was everything else after Endgame right now has just been kind of hit or miss. I mean, you've got for every WandaVision, you've got the Eternals. And there have been stuff. I love Spider-Man No Way Home. Really, Marvel, give me my Daredevil Spider-Man team-up movie. Please. So, but there have been a lot of adequate movies, and I haven't even seen. I guess I need to watch Marvels, because I did like Captain Marvel, and I like Monica Rambeau, and I like Ms. Marvel. I watched that, even though it was totally a Disney teeny bopper superhero movie. But I liked her. I mean, she was good, and I just have got over I got superhero. Yeah. I had fatigue, and to make me I told that to one of my friends on Friday, that I've got fatigue. She's like, you have superhero fatigue? I know.
Well, when they put so many out, and they just have this buildup for years, and that's then what Endgame was the release of this buildup. Everybody, I think, was just kind of fatigued at that point, because it's been years leading up to it, I've not really gotten back into watching all of the movies. I've seen one or two here and there, but it just got to be so much, and then we got that release, and it's just kind of
Yeah.
we got to slowly work back up to it again.
It was not. It's you know, I still haven't watched a whole Marvel movie or a whole DC movie, current one. Now I've watched some of the older stuff. I do
Right.
watch Batman, you know, from 1966. I've been watching The Green Hornet from 1966 because Bruce Lee's in it, and gee, many Christmas, that man was fast. But I've watched one full Marvel movie in a year, and that was Endgame because New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, yes.
And I have several of them.
It's become our tradition.
Exactly. But it's just, and I know that I'd probably I enjoyed the ones that I've watched, you know, until then, but it's like, well, I'm going to watch the Herculoids instead. I'm going to watch some Ultraman show that, you know, with Japanese show with subtitles, because even though it's pretty much the same as every older Ultraman show, it's not. It's just, I don't know. I just needed a break from those.
Yeah.
I needed a break, and I thought it would only last a year, and it's, you know, we're 4 months into this one, and I really want to watch No Way Home again with all 3 Spider-Men, because not watching it with you, but learn that. Can't watch any Spider-Mans with you, that's for sure, especially not those first 2 Tobys.
Come on, you can watch it with me when I'm there.
You would have, that first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in the theater, knowing what was going to happen, knowing how it was going to happen, and it's still poor Uncle Ben. Knew it, didn't help it. Boy. The second time there weren't that many people in the theater, so it wasn't that, and it still got me. And I knew even that. Anyway,
You knew what was coming.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like if you were going to watch the origin of Batman, and when he and his and his dad and his mom walked down that back alley theater after seeing The Mark of Zorro, they ever did it right, but they did it in the cartoon. So, but anyway, be that as it may, we're not on Earth 616.
Okay.
I think we should wrap things up.
Yes.
This is the symbol for wrap things up. I learned that from Charlie Brown Christmas. Speed it up.
Yep.
Cut the scene short. Probably can't do that anymore, but. So, my fellow agents, this has been our episode on Earth 616 and the multiverse of madness, or the multiverse of minutia. I think that's probably a better title. X7's multiverse of minutia. I am X7, and my lovely co-host here, dressed as a nerd, Lilith Draco. We'll be seeing you.
Live long and prosper.
I got beer.
I got bottled breast milk.
Why don't we start with the beer?
Okay.
Do you like the beer?
I do. Although it's actually a lager.
Huh. What's the difference between beer and lager?
I don't know. We could look it up.